Check, 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 check. Run it back, nation. What is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood, Run It Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys, no intros. I see this title got some people a little bit triggered in the chat so far. Magic Tricks, I see you popping off, man. You guys were killing me during that 5-minute intro just reading the chat, man. That was this is it's a funny topic. It's out there for sure, but it was talked about in a serious light by the Miami Heat, certain media members or reporters in the Miami Heat organization, and they weren't joking. Okay, they sounded pretty serious. But before we get into it, man, everybody in here, please hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Only 30% of you are subscribed to the channel. That's fraudulent behavior. Go ahead and hit the red button. This episode of Run It Back Philly is brought to you by Aura Identity Theft Protection. In 2020, 49 million Americans were victims of identity theft, and it ended up costing them a combined $56 billion. This isn't just happening to people who fall for phishing scams or use bad passwords. 37 billion records got hacked in 2020 alone from major social media sites, grocery store chains, cryptocurrency exchanges, pharmacies, phone, and internet providers. That's why I'm excited to partner with Aura, who is sponsoring this video. Aura's phone app uses AI and machine learning to protect your identity online. You tell them what you want them to monitor, they monitor it for you. The app also features a VPN that encrypts your browsing history and allows you to stay anonymous online. We all love being anonymous out here, and their antivirus software that will block malware and viruses before they infect your devices. Someone becomes a victim of identity fraud every 14 seconds. Don't be the next one. Let Aura do the hard work for you, protecting your identity. You do everything online. In 2022, there's no reason to not have identity theft protection. Go to the link in the description, aura.com/runitback. Sign up for a 14-day free trial and see what it does, man. That's all you got to do. Aura.com/runitback. Thank you, Aura, for sponsoring this episode of Run It Back Philly. All right, man, what's up in the chat? Tell me where you're at. Where are you tuning in from? What you doing today? 136 people in here. Again, hit the like button, and let's get into this. D. Robertson Life says that music is annoying. Well, D. Robertson, I don't know if you know how to control your volume or not, but you could probably just mute it if you don't like it. All right, before we get into this ridiculous Jimmy Butler, Joel Embiid, Miami Heat media rumor, let's check this out real quick. My story from 1 year ago popped up on my Facebook story today, and for those that have just joined the channel recently or haven't been following Run It Back Philly for that long, exactly 1 year ago today, I burned a Ben Simmons jersey in my driveway after he totally flopped, disappeared, acted like a coward in front of all of our faces against the Atlanta Hawks in Game 7. And I gave one jersey away. I burned another one. And for some reason, I still have one. That I don't know why. And anytime something happens to me, some kind of bad luck situation, I think about the fact that Ben Simmons jersey is still hanging in my closet, and I really don't know why it's there. Maybe I need to get rid of it for just energy purposes, to get that aura up out of my house. But yeah, like, I'm not a jersey burn kind of guy. You trade players leaving free agency, whatever else. I don't burn jerseys, but I usually make fun of people who do that. I felt this completely necessary. I have never witnessed a bigger fraud loser in my entire life watching the NBA, watching sports in general. So there you have that. That was a year ago. 1 year anniversary of burning the Ben Simmons jersey in the driveway. What do we got next, man? What do we got next? Tyrese Maxey hit 14 threes in a row yesterday. While listening to Meek Mill. My guy Harrison Grimm on Twitter posted the video. It was all over Instagram also. 14 threes in a row for Tyrese Maxey. This is an indoor court. My first question was, is this NBA range? I can't imagine he would be practicing on something that's not NBA range. But yeah, Tyrese Maxey shot 42%, 42.5% from three last year, which was an insane jump in one off season from what he did as a rookie, from what he did at Kentucky, 29% his first year in the NBA. And one off season, he shot 42.5% from three. And, when we talk about whether or not you would trade Tyrese Maxey, when we talk about whether or not you would throw him into a Bradley Beal sign and trade or a Donovan Mitchell trade or something like that, I always like to remind myself that this kid made a ridiculous leap in just one off season. And I said this last night on the A2D show with Tom Arnone and Ryan Bordeaux. I think that, myself included, we downplay or we overlook the actual potential for Tyrese Maxey this upcoming season. Because if he made that kind of leap in just one off season, and he still had certain things that he needs to work on, like being more aggressive in big moments in playoff games. Again, you don't expect a 21-year-old player to even be shouldering the load in a playoff game. But the sky is the limit in 2 off seasons, 3 off seasons, 4 off seasons. You just have no clue what he could potentially become. And if he continues to progress like he did in just one off season, the kid could be an absolute superstar. He really could be. He could be a 26-point-per-game superstar. So as much as I go back and forth with myself on we need to win now, we need to take advantage of Joel Embiid's prime, if you can get Bradley Beal, if you can get whoever else. Say Kevin Durant forces his way out of Brooklyn, and they say, give us 5 first-round picks, Tyrese Maxey and Tobias Harris and something else. I still, even though Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid's a championship. I know that, but I still would not do it. I don't think I would do it. Just because if this entire process ends up being a failure, at least you have Tyrese Maxey for the next 10-plus years. So I think Joel Embiid's untouchable, and I think Tyrese Maxey is 100% untouchable. 26, 8, and 8 from Maxey, man. That would be wild. Slap talk in the chat. That would be wild. It's possible. The kid is just, the sky's the limit. Like I said, man, the sky is absolutely the limit. All right, listen. The reason we're here today, besides the fact that it's the off season and I don't have anything to do, Heat Nation Calm tweeted this yesterday, okay? And you can laugh at it all you want. You can say clickbait. You can say, trolling. You can say this is 100% impossible. You can say all those things that you want to say about it. I have some things to say about it. Anyway, here's the tweet from Heat Nation Calm. Much of the speculation has been Much of the speculation has been that Miami is focusing on 2 players, Utah Jazz point guard Donovan Mitchell or Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid, NBC Miami's Jason Parker. Now, it makes me laugh a little bit. Now, look, if you look at the Miami Heat and what they did last year, what they've been doing the past couple of seasons, and how they lost in the playoffs this season, they definitely are not interested in running it back the same way we're not interested in running it back. The Miami Heat are not interested in bringing that same squad back. It wasn't good enough. They have Jimmy Butler. They have Kyle Lowry, who was here and there injured, not playing, hamstring issues, things like that, probably from flopping around too much, trying to bait officials. But the Miami Heat are definitely looking to make a splash this offseason to put them over the hump because they don't want to be back where they were. Same story for us, same story for a lot of teams, but the Miami Heat in particular, because it's the Miami Heat, you know what I mean? And, Heat culture, winning culture, whatever, everybody talks about the Miami Heat like they win championships every single season. Have they won one since LeBron left? I don't think they have. Did they win in the bubble? They got there in the bubble, right? Lost to the Lakers, but who cares about the bubble? Either way, Miami's always looking to do something major. And so they throw out the names Donovan Mitchell and Joel Embiid. We all know why they throw out Joel Embiid. I don't know why they throw out Donovan Mitchell. The Utah Jazz have already put it out there that they're trading Rudy Gobert. They want to trade Rudy Gobert. That is a clear indication that they're all in on Donovan Mitchell. They're saying, listen, Donovan, what do you need? What do you need for the future? Who do you want? Who do you not want? You don't like Rudy? Okay, why? Because he touched all the microphones and started the whole COVID outbreak? All right, we'll get rid of him. We're going to ask way too much for him, but we'll get rid of him. So the Utah Jazz are all in on Donovan Mitchell. I wouldn't expect that trade to be possible whatsoever. I also wouldn't expect a Joel Embiid trade to be possible either. First of all, because the Miami Heat don't have enough to give up in a trade for Joel Embiid. So that's number one. When you think about what would it cost the team? Like, we're talking about Joel Embiid. We're talking about a NBA superstar, whether or not Swipe a Cam on Twitter wants to admit it or not. We're talking about a flat-out superstar. So what would it even cost the team to get Joel Embiid? The Miami Heat do not have enough to trade for the Sixers to ever be interested in sending Joel Embiid to Miami. We wouldn't even do it for Jimmy Butler in a swap if that was an agreement. We wouldn't do it for, who do they have? You know, somebody in the chat right before I jumped on the show said Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero and the first-round pick. Are you budging on that? I am not budging on that. Magic Tricks, thanks for the super chat, my man. Joel plays to the crowd more than any NBA player. I'm sure he'd love Miami Heat 50% crowd that shows up 90 minutes late every game and doesn't care. That's not a bad point at all, my man. Joel Embiid loves the crowd in Philly. Everybody that ever played in Philly, besides that fraud Ben Simmons, loves the Philadelphia 76ers crowd. Sometimes Tobias Harris doesn't like the crowd either, but he's almost as soft as Ben Simmons, so you know what I mean. Real athletes, real hard-working warriors like Joel Embiid love Philly crowd, and yeah, he would go down to Miami. They would show up in the third quarter of a playoff game, and it can't be that interesting. It can't be that interesting. But look at it this way, and let me know in the chat what you think of this, okay? Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler are friends. We know that. They confessed their love for each other after the playoffs ended or after the Miami Heat eliminated the Sixers. Joel basically said, I wish I was still on his... Jimmy said, I wish I was still on his team, which sounded a little bit like Jimmy wishes he was still in Philadelphia. And he probably does, and that probably also has to do with the fan base. And then he said, but I love Miami, you know. And Joel Embiid said, like, that's my brother. I love him. I wish we still played together, whatever. And then Joel named a whole bunch of other players on the Miami Heat, such as P.J. Tucker. We don't have dogs like that, on and on and on. So he did say positive things about the Miami Heat after we got eliminated, and he even pointed out the players that the Miami Heat have who were part of the reason they eliminated us, the type of players that we don't have. You know, he didn't say George Niang can't jump or rebound flat out, but he basically said players like that. So he said some things about the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler after that elimination that made people say, we know he's Joel Embiid. We know but there was a little bit of frustration there. And there was a little bit of a feeling in the very back of your mind that was a little uneasy about it, right? Now, picture this. The Philadelphia 76ers, Daryl Morey, the whole organization, they try to go all in again this offseason. They try to bring in another star. They throw away more draft picks. They throw away more young players. Hypothetical right here. Let me know what you think. They throw away more assets to bring in another star. The Philadelphia 76ers still fall short in the second round of the playoffs. Then, what does Joel Embiid do? If that happens this upcoming season, then I will start to become relatively nervous about this. Because, like I said, they're friends. We know they're friends. You don't think Jimmy's talking to Joel, texting him, like, you know, hitting him up, calling him? Who knows, man? Maybe they hang out. Maybe he visits his family. Who knows? But if you don't think that Jimmy Butler would be in Joel Embiid's ear after this upcoming season, if that hypothetical situation I just said actually happens, if you don't think Jimmy Butler would be in his ear talking about, come on, Joe, don't waste your whole career up there. Get out of there. Get out of there, Joe. Come down to Miami with me, man. Look at the life that I live. Come down, hang out on the beach. Live the Miami celebrity lifestyle and win championships with me in Miami. Do you think Joel Embiid would be enticed? He might be at that point. He might be at that point. That's what I'm saying. If that would happen this upcoming season, the Sixers fall short again, I would start to feel uneasy about the fact that Jimmy Butler's close with Joel Embiid. They talk all the time. Combined with Joel Embiid's frustration with the organization, I would start to get nervous. And I think, you know, if he doesn't want to waste his whole career here like Allen Iverson did, maybe he would say, hey, man, listen, I love Philly fans. I love this. I love what this team did to me and gave me an opportunity to come over here in the NBA and play basketball in America and the life that I live. I'm grateful for it, but I want to win. Send me to Miami. Anyway, so it says NBC, what does it say? NBC Miami's Jason Parker. So there's no link here, right? So I'm like, well, what the hell? Who the hell's Jason Parker? So I Google Jason Parker, NBC Miami, and we get this article. This is by Jason Parker, of the NBC South Florida. And the headline, Heat double bonus, why Miami should trade for another superstar before draft night. Again, Jason, don't think you really have the assets to trade for a superstar before draft night, and you only have, what, a day and a half? Put this out yesterday. So you got 2.5 days to trade for another superstar. Good luck. The article, as the final seconds ticked off the clock last Thursday's deciding Game 6 of the NBA Finals, yeah, who cares? Aside from the fact that Miami couldn't get past the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, it's obvious the main thing the Heat have to do if they want to sniff the title round again, get another superstar player to help the team's current star forward, Jimmy Butler. Butler was the best player in his Sixers Miami series. With the 2022 NBA draft coming this Thursday night, the Heat have a chance to make a move that would both bring another superstar to the 305 and keep Miami from making a draft pick for the second straight season. And here's where the tweet came from. Much of the speculation has been that Miami is focusing on two players, Utah Jazz point guard Donovan Mitchell or Philadelphia center Joel Embiid. To get either one of the superstars, the Heat would have to trade the number 27 pick this Thursday along with likely at least 3 players. To get Mitchell from the Jazz, that means moving the pick along with 3 outside shooters. Would the Jazz be interested in the number 27 pick, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and another outside shooter from the Miami Heat? I doubt it. More than likely, the combination of guards, Tyler Hero, Max Strus, along with Duncan Robinson. I forgot about Max Strus. Max Strus, a nice young player. To get Embiid from the Sixers, that means likely only having to move 2 of those players. But now a big man is likely going to have to be thrown into the conversation. So you would be talking about The problem is that the three of Miami's four tallest players, Dwayne Dedmon, Udonis Haslem, and Markieff Morris, are all free agents this summer. That leaves just one option, Bam Adebayo. So for the Sixers to even entertain the idea, it would cost the Miami Heat Tyler Hero, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson, and Bam Adebayo. Or just Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and Bam Adebayo, or Max Strus, Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo. And a lot of you, some of you, have been coming in the chat recently and saying it's time to blow it up. Some of you are jumping off the bandwagon. Some of you are done here. And you've been saying blow it up, and you've been saying trade Joel Embiid. So for those of you that have been saying that, would this move the needle for you? Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, number 27 pick, and Bam Adebayo. My answer to that is no. DJ, would you cry if Embiid left? Yes. Nah, not actual tears. At the end of the day, it's just sports. It's just basketball. There's actual things in my life that I care about outside of this. I do care, but no, I wouldn't cry actual tears. American Tarmacker, what's up, man? Shane Butler says, no way. Jim O'Donnell, hell no. Eli, no. Anyone who would trade Embiid under contract for 3 years is wild. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, superstars hold all the weight. If Embiid would request it after next season's failure, if that happens, you get to the point in the NBA when a superstar requests out that you don't have a choice. I'm not saying it would happen, but Phil Evans, you crazy. You see how they act at Maxey rumors, LMAO. I don't know what that means. If we trade Embiid, we need a superstar level wing. I don't think Miami. That's the thing about this tweet is that the Miami Heat don't have enough to trade in the first place for anybody to consider it. Like, if you were gonna trade Joel Embiid, there would be other ways you would go. There would be other teams, other superstars you would be looking at. You wouldn't really be interested in Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and the number 27 pick. I don't think. So it's a nice thought, Miami, and good luck on trading for a superstar before draft night, which is in a couple days. But it's not going to be Joel Embiid, and it's not going to be Donovan Mitchell. I'm sorry to tell you, NBC Miami's Jason Parker. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, straight up. Straight up not going to happen. What else we got here, man? What else is on my notes? Tracy McGrady shares advice to James Harden after his disappointing season. And this was interesting to me because Tracy McGrady has been around a long time, obviously, a NBA legend. I don't know if he's a Hall of Famer or not, but he's old school, right? And so he sees some of the things in these new school NBA players that I see. And when the money gets to be a certain amount, you start to question whether or not certain players care anymore about the game, if they've gotten so much money that they're just living a celebrity lifestyle and they could care less if they retire tomorrow. James with the massive NBA contracts and then the massive Adidas contracts, like, he's not even close to needing another dollar. I personally think he wants to come back and get back closer to his old self, just because you don't play the game your whole life, dedicate your whole life to a game, and then say, nah, I'm good. If you think within yourself that you can still play at a high level, I think you just want to do that no matter what the money is. But Tracy McGrady says to James Harden, make winning a number one priority. And James Harden looked nothing like the MVP he once was during this recent NBA season. Stat-wise, rebounding assist numbers remain solid. His scoring output experienced a regression from his usual dominant statistics. And also, in the playoffs, when it mattered the most, he pulled a Ben Simmons and shot the ball twice in the second half, leaving Joel Embiid to shoulder the entire load all by himself, as per usual, and came up short because at the end of the day, he's one man. He's an NBA center, and if you triple team and quadruple team him and nobody else is helping out, what can he really do? I'm still salty about the damn loss. I'm still salty about what happened in that Game 6. I'm still pissed off at James Harden, if you can't tell. Tracy McGrady on the Rich Eisen show said this. To make basketball, Rich Eisen said, what would you say to James Harden? I guess let's hear it. It's on Peacock, though, so I might get hit with copyright. We're not going to do that. We're just going to read it. So he said to Tracy McGrady, what would you say to James Harden? And he said, I would say to make basketball a number one priority, make winning a number one priority, make 76ers number one priority. You're playing with an MVP caliber guy in Joel Embiid, who I think has changed his mind frame on how he's approaching the game, how he sees the game, and how he wants to win. I think if James can be that solid 20-10 type of guy that contributes every night for the Sixers, they will be there in the conversation as one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. So that's interesting because he's not saying, hey, James has to get back to his superstar self. He's not saying James has to get back to 30 points per game and 15 assists and 10 rebounds. He's not saying that. He's saying what a lot of us have been saying. James just needs to be a all-star level point guard, a 20-10 facilitator, decent shooting from the three-point range, do enough to take the pressure off of Joel Embiid, do enough to take the pressure off of Tyrese Maxey, because we all know when James is drawing the defense in his first couple of games he played with the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey was eating in one-on-one situations. So a lot of the Sixers' potential success this upcoming season lies on the shoulders of James Harden and how he looks and how he plays. But my question to you in the chat is 20-10 enough from James Harden for the Sixers to be a championship contender? James Harden just being a all-star level 20-10 facilitator. Is that enough for the 76ers to be a championship level contender this upcoming season? El Copic, yes. Magic Tricks, yes. Shane Butler, yes. 20-10 is enough, Phil Evans says. And then I guess that if we get that 20-10, James Harden on efficient shooting, Kevin Lewis, I agree. Mr. 89 says nope. Absai says no. If we get that 20-10 from James Harden and Daryl Morey makes the right moves this offseason, possibly very soon before this Thursday's NBA draft, then I personally could see the Sixers being a championship contender. I don't know about them adding a third star. I just think I think I'm on the side of all you need is James Harden to get back to Brooklyn level James Harden, 20-10 facilitator, efficient shooting percentages, and damn it, show up in the fourth quarter of playoff games. Tyrese Maxey to take another leap forward, which the sky's the limit for him. And, trade Tobias Harris, trade Matisse Thybulle, move some money around, sign some veterans that can come off the bench, Marcus Morris type of players, free agents here, maybe some trades. Like Ryan Bordeaux on A2D was saying last night on the stream, the Sixers are so top-heavy. If you look at the contracts, they have 3 max guys, and the next guy is Danny Green at $10 million. We need a little bit of a middle ground on this basketball team. Depth. You can't have outside of your 4 guys, everybody kind of stinks. So I just think if James can be that 20-10 guy and you get another leap from Maxey. Joel Embiid can stay healthy. And that's always going to be the biggest question mark. If Tom Brady tears his ACL, the Patriots don't win those rings. If Joel Embiid's hurt, we don't stand a chance. None of this matters. So Joel Embiid's health is number one. Tyrese Maxey, James Harden, and then maybe Daryl makes the right moves. I would feel good about that. So we'll have to see. But Tracy McGrady said that, and I think it's when he says to make basketball the number one priority, make winning a number one priority, I think he's questioning James Harden's dedication to basketball at this stage of his career. I think he's questioning whether or not basketball is his number one priority. So, yeah, there's that. What else we got, man? Before I get up out of here, let's look at this real quick, okay? Philly Voice. Bradley Beal's odds of landing with the Sixers by Nick Tricome of the Philly Voice. And Bradley Beal has not dedicated himself to Washington this offseason. He has not said he's coming back. He said he's going wherever he can win. Whether that's Washington, whether that's another team, I don't know. I feel like it's getting a little bit cryptic. It's getting a little bit narcissistic. It's getting a little bit crazy, a little bit sociopathic for me. Like he kind of wants to be the next LeBron James, the decision. You know what I mean? Like just say, I don't want to be here anymore. Or just say, I want to be a free agent, or just say I want to go somewhere else. Like, we don't need all this. We don't need this drama. We don't need this TV show. Come on, Brad. Anyway. James Harden short-term contract, 23rd overall pick. It might still have greater ambitions adding another star. The last rumor came by way of ESPN's Brian Windhorst in the middle of last month after the Sixers were eliminated by Miami, yet another second-round exit. Philly has dreams and plans, as Daryl Morey does, and a key factor here is they have Tobias Harris, who would have value in a possible trade, and they have Tyrese Maxey, who would have value in a possible trade. No. And you would need a player potentially near the end of his contract to come and say, I would like to go play in Philadelphia. So that would be Bradley Beal. If he says, I want to go play in Philly, do you think Daryl Morey pulls the trigger on Tyrese Maxey? Lord, I would hope not. But you never know with Daryl Morey, man. Don't be too comfortable here. Daryl Morey loves him. Some big names. Look what he did in Houston every single year. He paired James Harden with Chris Paul. Then he paired James Harden with Russell Westbrook. He was always trying another big name. So here's the odds that Bradley Beal lands in where he lands. Okay, the highest odds for where Bradley Beal lands is Boston. What would Boston have to trade in a sign and trade for Bradley Beal? Would Boston break up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? That would be kind of crazy, wouldn't it? So Boston's 3-1, Portland's 4-1. Can't imagine anybody being interested in going to Portland. You just played in Washington, D.C. your whole career, which is a dump in itself. Do you really want to go all the way out to Portland, Oregon? Doubt it. Miami 5-1. That's an interesting one. Because if Miami does offer the 27 pick, Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and Max Strus, would the Washington Wizards say, yep, there you go, we'll take it? That's interesting. And that would quite possibly put Miami over that hump that they're trying to get over. Brooklyn, 6-1. Kyrie's leaving. Ben Simmons refuses to play still because he wants to just be a celebrity the rest of his life. Has a Ferrari endorsement now. Doesn't care about basketball at all. Had ghost back surgery. How the hell did you hurt your back when you didn't do anything for a year? So Kevin Durant's there now, stranded all by himself. Brooklyn's got to be desperate. we got to do something or Kevin Durant's going to leave, then we're definitely screwed. So maybe Brooklyn can somehow pull off a Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, draft picks, something for Bradley Beal. Who knows? Atlanta at 7-1. Denver at 15-2. The Lakers at 8-1. The Lakers have absolutely no trade assets whatsoever. The Washington Wizards, I'm very certain, want nothing to do with Russell Westbrook again. Dallas Mavericks at 9-1. Now, that would probably be a Jalen Brunson swap, which is interesting. The 76ers at 9-1. And this article claims that would include Tyrese Maxey, which I don't want to do. Then you got the New York Knicks, the Utah Jazz, the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Chicago Bulls, the Phoenix, and San Antonio. So, interesting that Boston leads the way in the odds of where Bradley Beal lands. Beal's 28, coming off a down season, but most are willing to chalk it up as an anomaly marred by injuries, COVID, and personal loss. He's in his prime, and if fully healthy, could be the boost that finally gets the Joel Embiid-led Sixers over the hump, but that's assuming Beal leaves Washington, which is getting increasingly unlikely. There have been rumors surrounding his future with the Wizards for a while now, but he's believed to be leaning toward re-signing with the team long-term. That'd be interesting to me. If Beal stays in Washington, bro, what is it about Washington, man? I know you live a good life. I know you're the man of the city. I know they're giving you buku amounts of money. And he would be, the thing is, him and Damian Lillard both, they like to act like it's not all about money. But when you stay in a losing situation and you continuously get offered another super max, which is $270 million now, it starts to be like, yeah, you like the money more than you want to win in the NBA. Interesting. Interesting, to say the least. So Bleacher Report puts out Kyrie Irving post, and I know we talked about it yesterday. Bleacher Report, Kyrie Irving. I know we talked about it yesterday, but they have some more interesting things to say about Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving rumors uncertain Nets future considered attempt to leverage contract. Who is even interested in paying Kyrie Irving at this point? Where are we at here? Kyrie Irving rumors uncertain Nets future considered attempt to leverage contract. I'm so at a loss for words with the Kyrie Irving situation because I can't imagine another NBA team being interested in dealing with this guy, being interested in giving up any assets to deal with this guy. And what it would take, what the Brooklyn Nets would be asking for him would be way too high because, again, what team even wants to deal with this guy? But then I also can't even see the Brooklyn Nets being interested in giving him a contract. And, the owner already came out, or the GM or somebody, and said, basically, we want players here who want to be here. We want players here who want to play. They first said he can't play. Then they let him play half of the games because they realized they needed him. Even though he's only playing half of the games, they needed him. I haven't looked into yet if the NBA is going to require players to be vaccinated again this upcoming season, which that would get really interesting because if they continue to require players to be vaccinated, Kyrie's never going to get vaccinated. That's just not a thing that's going to happen. He's not doing it. He has personal beliefs about it that he believes, at least that he believes, are larger than the game of basketball, right? And so I don't see him ever getting vaccinated because of that. He doesn't put basketball as some kind of big-time important thing in his life or the world, so he's not going to do it. But this article says contract negotiations between Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets are already playing out through the media as the two sides attempt to find a resolution that works for both. On the latest episode of the Hoop Collective, Brian Windhorst reported there is a perception from people in the NBA that Irving's camp is attempting to create leverage by making it known he will be willing to test the marketplace in free agency. Per Shams, that are at impasse. Thank you all yesterday. I said, what is this word? All you damn self-proclaimed geniuses. It's impasse. Somebody was in the comments like, the America's education system is terrible. Come on, bro. I know. Everybody on YouTube's a genius, and if you don't know a word or you pronounce someone's name wrong, you're an idiot. I get that. Anyway, impasse clears the way for 30-year-old because Irving hasn't officially opted out of his $36.5 million salary for next season. 7-time All-Star has until June 29th to decide. Lakers, Knicks, Clippers were listed as potential destinations. I just watched my guy CP the Franchise on Knicks Fan TV basically saying we want nothing to do with Kyrie Irving. Please, God, no. We don't want him anywhere near here. We don't want to give up any assets for him. This says the Knicks could sign Irving into cap space by giving up Evan Fournier, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, Kemba Walker. Is Kemba Walker still on the Knicks? That's weird. I didn't even realize that. I know he got benched at one point. Brian Lewis of the New York Post reported on June 6th that all indications point to Irving opting into the final season of his current deal and signing an extension. I think we know what we're looking for, said Marks. We're looking for guys that want to come in here and be part of something bigger than themselves, play selfless, play team basketball, and be available. That goes not only for Kyrie, but everybody here. That's interesting, man. The Brooklyn Nets are screwed. And I continue to enjoy every second of it. Yeah, the Sixers are screwed too. I know. People jumped in my video yesterday in the comments and were like, oh, Sixers fan laughing at the Nets. Ha, you guys suck too. And I'm like, we're on the verge of being screwed, but we're not as screwed as the Brooklyn Nets. Now, if this upcoming season, Joel Embiid, requests a trade because we don't get it done because Daryl Morey doesn't get it done, then we're definitely screwed. But the Brooklyn Nets are screwed right now. Right now. You ended up giving up 7 first-round draft picks for basically Seth Curry and Andre Drummond because Ben Simmons is never going to play basketball again. And then the Kyrie Irving situation is another disaster. The whole trio of trying to build that super team ended up being a fail, like I predicted from the jump. KD is stuck, Mr. 89. I agree with that. So the Nets are screwed right now. And there's nowhere for them to go. That's the crazy part about it. Draft picks, cap space, trade assets. Like, Kyrie Irving's not even really a trade asset because nobody wants to deal with him. Future's not looking bright up in there. You guys better go back to rooting for the Knicks. Or petition to move the team back to New Jersey. The mandates are illegal and the vax have proven to be useless. I mean, the NBA could require vaccines, right? You can require vaccines as a private company. But I guess the NBA didn't require vaccines. The NBA, because he could play in away arenas and things. So it was just the New York mandate. So, we'll have to see if the New York mandate continues. I don't even know if it's a thing right now anymore. The Nets are playing Russian roulette. Philly's all right, man. Just keep Embiid healthy, and Harden needs to do bare minimum. You got Maxey money. That's your Jordan Poole. I agree, man. Percy, imagine being a Knicks fan. Hey, look, if the process ends up being a fail and we don't end up winning with Joel Embiid and doing something to sustain a future, we very well could be the New York Knicks. That's the sad part. Somebody was in the comments yesterday and said, Sixers fans laughing at the Nets, ha. You haven't been to the conference finals in 20 years. Bro, The Nets in the last 20 years have been to the conference finals twice. The Sixers once. Okay, Sixers 2001, Nets 2002 and 2003. Jason Kidd, Kenyon Martin, Vince Carter, all that beautiful stuff. Actually, I don't know if Vince Carter was there at that time. The Sixers haven't won an NBA championship since 1983, approaching 40 years. The Nets haven't won an NBA championship for 47. So you stink just as much as us. Deal with it. Anyway, that's all I got, guys, man. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for jumping in the chat. Thanks for joining the conversation. 250 people still up in here on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm going to the gym. Hit the like button on your way out, man. I'll be back here tomorrow right at 12 o'clock. Lunchtime live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Don't forget, if you don't have identity theft protection, you're putting yourself at risk every day. Being on the internet, investing on the internet, banking on the internet, gambling on the internet. Go to aura.com/runitback. Sign up for a 14-day free trial. Cancel anytime just to see what the app does for you. And you also get a VPN. Who doesn't need a VPN these days? You know what you need a VPN for. I'm not going to say it because the Aura might not like me saying that. But go to aura.com/runitback. Sign up for a 14-day free trial. See what it can do for you. Protect yourself from the frauds on the internet. This has been an episode of Lunchtime Live on Run It Back Philly. Thanks for being here. I'll see you guys next time.